So I'm back. Yeah, this is great. This is great. I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous. I really don't know. It's not like there's anybody else out here while I'm doing this, and it's also funny because I've done a whole season of this, and I still am kind of like kind of nervous. So yeah, this is episode 1 of season 2 of the Phenix Speaks podcast. Let's get some time in here. So right now it's currently 12:35 p.m. on Tuesday, October 3rd, and we are here and we are live and in session at the Phenix Speaks Studios, which is outside. Anywhere that I go is going to be the Phenix Speaks Studios because we're speaking this into existence, and I really I planned on this season being something that I can look forward to travel on, and it's still going to happen like that. I'm still looking forward to being able to do that, but it was always going to be unorthodox, and so I'm thinking outside of the box when I'm doing different things. And one place in particular that I really did want to come back out and record visuals for was outdoors, particularly where I love to come. So I'm gonna give y'all a little background. This episode was going to be a little bit different at first, but I decided that I'm just going to kind of go with the flow for at least the first episode. I have some topics and things that I do want to discuss and talk about. But for this particular episode, I want to give you all a little background on where I'm at and why this is so significant to me. So can I do that? Cool. So I'm currently out here at the Lions Bridge. If you're familiar with Newport News, Virginia, you would know that there are many places here in our city that have some really nice scenery. We're literally right by water. There's water right there behind me. So that's a really cool feature of being in Newport News, Virginia, or living here, is that you get to be by water sometimes. And so this is a place I like to come and just chill. I like to meditate out here. I like to draw, read, write, and also take pictures. This is probably one of the most highly frequently used places where I will take pictures of different clients, friends, and everything. So a lot of pictures have been taken out here by my hands, and I love that. I just love this space. So I'll give you all that context just because this is a place that is significant to me, and I feel like that would be the perfect way to start off this season to give you guys something significant. Now, originally when I did think about this particular time of year, I really wanted this season to be focused on seasonal depression. And I'm going to be completely transparent. Why not? Originally in the process of creating this podcast and the production of everything, I really was looking forward to being able to do 4 seasons this year, knock those things out. But life does what life does, and starts life. And so I decided that was probably not going to be the best idea, considering the things that were going on, and I was going to be pushing myself way too hard and burn myself out. I honor that I'm able to even recognize that, to share that with you all, because that is something that there's a bug back there making some noise. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, but that is something that I really do feel like it's something that I should share, just because I like to be very transparent with certain things. So yeah, I made a decision and I decided that we're only going to do 2 seasons this year, and I moved some things back. So one thing that I made sure not to do was to tell you all, when that was going to happen, because again, I never know, and I'm always open to being flexible with life and how it just flows. So this season in particular, season 2, was supposed to be really regarding location changing and all that, and it was going to have some topics associated with it, but because of the time of year, I still want to follow through with my original plan, which is to really talk about seasonal depression. And I think there's still a way that I can really incorporate the things that I wanted to discuss with you all into this mix. So I'm excited to share these things with you all this season. We are going to get into a topic. I'm not going to just leave you all without just discussing nothing and call it a day. I do want to talk about something because I feel like it's probably the perfect time to do so. So the first topic that I really had to talk about, or I wanted to talk about, is consideration. In regards to my life and the things that I go through on a daily basis, I think one of the most highly talked about topics in my mind when I have conversations with myself is consideration. And particularly when we talk about consideration, I mean in terms of how people consider other people in day-to-day life. And that doesn't just mean your friend, that doesn't just mean your family. It can mean anyone, right? And I want to give you kind of a story to kind of paint the picture for this, right? So walk with me. Imagine you are someone at Target and you are just, shopping for some items at this Target. You got your toiletries, so maybe you get some body wash, some lotion, some deodorant or whatever. And let's just say you're shopping and you're getting everything that you need and you're heading to the checkout line. Side note, a lot of these stores are starting to cut out a lot of employees in order to put in self-checkout things. And this episode is not about that. But I just feel like that's really crazy. Because you're taking jobs away from people for one, and then you're causing other people to have to do another job, which, hey, I don't mind scanning out my own stuff, but it makes the lines a lot longer because it's Target, so people like coming here. Case in point, Target, do something about that, because it's just wild to me. I don't know, it's just every time I go in there and it's a long line and self-checkout, I kind of get irritated because it's just like, dang, y'all could be having these lines open for people that are trying to work. That's just my opinion. I don't know. But anyway, so you go, you check out, and you start, heading to your car. And mind you have a cart, of course, because you have your stuff in your cart. You head to your car, and you go to put your stuff in your cart. Cart is empty. What is your next step? Like, what is the next thing you're going to do? I'll wait. Just a few seconds. I ain't going to wait that long. So the next step that I feel like a lot of people miss is putting the cart away in a respectable place. And when I say respectable, I just mean a place that offers consideration. There are probably around, when I go to my Target, I would say in the usual places where I park, there's probably about 2 to 3. I'll give it 2 to 4. 2 to 4 different places that you can put your carts away when you're finished, right? You have the regular, kiosk places that they have like in the parking lots. You have back in the store. You have, you can give and pass it to another person, or you can just go ahead and put your cart wherever you feel like you want to put it at, because that's your business, right? Walk with me. Like I said, there's about 2 to 4 different places. Now, these are different options that you can choose from, but think about the choice that you're about to make, and think about it intentionally. And I just challenge you to, because honestly, a lot of people do not think about that choice. What most people are thinking about is, how do I get this cart out of my possession as fast as possible? And I'm gonna make a generalization. I can't say that everybody is doing that. I can't say that everybody isn't doing that, but I can feel like majority of people are probably thinking of that first thing because they're like, I'm ready to get in my car, get back home, or I got more errands to run. Whatever the case may be, you're really just trying to optimize your time here. And so you're not really worried about where this cart is gonna go 9 times out of 10. With that in mind, I think this is one of the first steps into talking about consideration, because if you think about where you're putting your cart at, you're thinking about somebody else, right? I choose to put my cart most of the time back in one of those, kiosks or whatever you call them that are out by the parking lots, right? But that's not always a thing that I do. Sometimes I am a little bit more in a hurry, so I just put it back wherever I feel like I can put it back where it's closest to where my car is to be able to get back and get on the road, right? And the other day, well, this is probably a couple days ago, probably about a week or so ago, I was out there and I had the thought of, putting this cart back. And I was like, I don't think people really think about this deeply. And I mean, who would? It's like a mundane activity. But when you put your cart back, this is going to either benefit someone else or cause someone else some type of hardship, right? 9 times out of 10, we're really not thinking about other people. You're just thinking about yourself. And I don't judge you for that, because quite frankly, that's the story of most of our lives. But I think it's something to be challenged on when you do take an extra second, an extra couple moments, just to think about somebody else and say, where I put this cart back, or when I do this one thing, whatever it may be, how does this benefit or harm someone else, right? How does the action or the consequence of my action affect someone else? And people don't really think about that intentionally. And so let's take it back to when I've said, consideration doesn't just mean it's just referring to friends or family. It means anyone. That Target example is pretty much anybody. You're not going to know everybody, every single person that comes into that Target that day that's looking for a cart, or even the workers there. You're probably not going to know who they are, what their life is like, and what they're thinking about right now at that moment. But you do have friends and family. So if we take it to those examples and we really think about, the impact that our actions can have on our friends and family, we really got to take a moment to think about, how do we treat the people that are closest to us, and how do we consider them in our day-to-day actions? I want you to think about the last time you talked to a family member. It could be anybody, a brother, sister, mother, father, grandmother, aunt, someone in your family, cousin. Think about the last time you spoke with them and how that conversation went, right? Was it a good conversation? Was it a bad conversation? Was it just random? Was it just a quick text, But think about the last time you communicated with that person, and really think about the way that you spoke to them, right? And I just want you to analyze exactly how that interaction went, right? Was it a situation where, you were just saying, hey, can you make sure that you wash this dish? Or, hey, can you, make sure that this is how this is supposed to be? Whatever it could be. But I want you to think about the level of consideration that you had in what you said prior to what you said. And you might not be able to think about that, because most times we are kind of making split decisions. I think I said that wrong. I'm trying to think about what that word is. Dang. 9 times out of 10, you're making decisions that, are pretty much in the moment, but very quick. And you're not really thinking so much about what you're about to say, how you're about to say it, or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people that typically consider other people more, and this is again a generalization, I feel like they have had many experiences where someone did not consider them enough, and it caused them to be very hyper aware of how they, one, consider people, but two, how other people consider them. I think tone is very important when you're talking to people in general, because your tone is definitely going to get the message through a particular way. And there are many times, even in my process of growth, when I've literally heard someone tell me something that was beneficial to me, very, very beneficial, but I chose not to listen because I didn't like the tone. I didn't like the way you said that. You said this, and pretty much you might as well just spit straight in my face the way you said what you said, because your tone was just completely out of whack. I hated it. I was not for it. And not saying that the value of what this person had to offer me in conversation or in advice or whatever the case may be wasn't good. It's not saying that wasn't good. The quality wasn't good. It was how you delivered it. So it's basically like saying this. If I order something off of Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever, and I looked out the window when the driver was pulled over. Actually, let me say this. Let me stop there. I went on my phone. I'm in the app. I'm looking. I'm like, okay. It's showing me the location of this driver. They like less than a minute away. Okay, boom. I'm about to go wait for them at the door because I'm ready to eat. Cool. You go to the door. They get there. They pull up. You see them pull up. The car that you see is a car that you're like, dang, that is not a car I was expecting to pull up. I'm thinking they're going to pull up in something much nicer, much more, to my standards, right? And they pull up in something that's just not as much as your standards. It's a used car, kind of older model, whatever the case may be. It's what they can afford, and it's their car, right? And I hope that y'all are not hearing this noise. But we outside, so I mean, it's just the elements. Y'all going to have to hear what y'all have to hear. But think about it like this. You decided that because of that person and what they're driving and how they're moving in their life. Let me backtrack. You're making a decision to not take this food from this person because of what they're driving. Because of how they're driving. They could have just sped in. You know what I'm saying? It don't even got to just be, just the look of the car. It could be the way that they sped into the block. Whatever it could be. But you're choosing not to get your food because they have a car that's not to your liking? No, that's stupid. You wouldn't do that. Most people, if I'm going to be completely honest, I can make this generalization very, very safely. Most people are not going to say, no, take that back to the store and give me somebody else to come do this order because your car looks like right. So, obviously, you're going to take the food because you're hungry and you don't really care. So, thinking about it like that, in just that example, if you relate it back to just regular life, why wouldn't I take advice from this person? I care so much about the tone of how this person is saying it that I can't take the advice. That sounds the same way. Stupid. So from my personal experience, when I had this experience of just recognizing that and kind of reflecting on the moment where that happened in my life, because it's not just one time, it was multiple moments actually. I said, dang, Neo, you gotta think about this too. You know what I'm saying? And I call myself, I don't know. We talked about this, I think. If you did not watch season 1 at all or listen to season 1 at all, definitely take a moment. Go back and listen to season 1. You'll love it. But on the last episode, I explained my name a little bit more, and you can kind of go from there. But yeah, over here you'll probably know me as Phenix, but of course I go by other names as well. So, nevertheless, you look at this situation and you're analyzing and you're like, dang, like the tone is really what I was so worried about. I was so worried about the person and how they delivered this that I didn't even consider the simple fact that this advice was good. So actually, if we're being real and we're being very, very honest, I did not consider myself, because I considered someone else so much in how they spoke and the way that they delivered this message that I couldn't even just take the information, use it for the betterment of my situation or whatever I was going through. It could have been advice. It could have just been a reminder to do something. And I'm over here now in a worse situation because I considered the tone of what they said over considering myself and the value of what they were giving. And that's where I feel like we can miss the mark on a lot of different things in our lives. And that's why I feel like this was a really good moment or a really good topic to start off with for episode 1. And again, to remind you, this season is going to be about seasonal depression. And I'm taking a different approach on it because people can just talk all day about seasonal depression, but I don't think we really think about how to cope with it from time to time, because sometimes you really cannot avoid it. It's seasonal. It's not a depression that is brought on by a particular inciting action outside of environmental circumstances, which being the fall and winter time, it gets colder, it gets a lot more darker early, and there's a lot of factors environmentally that are causing you to have more of a, I don't want to call it a negative tone, but a lower tone or a lower demeanor on the things that are happening outside of yourself. So it's something that we really need to be attentive of, and that's why consideration is important, because I want us to really take all of these examples into mind, all of these things into our heart, and really think about, how do I, as a person, better myself to be more considerate of myself, for one, but also to be more considerate of others, right? You look at the shopping cart example. Come on now. Just put the shopping cart back in the little kiosk thing. It makes it a lot easier for the people that are either looking for a cart quickly, or the people that have to put those carts back at the end of the night or in the morning, however that process goes, right? When it comes to your family member or friend, just think before you send a text, before you say what you're about to say. You can take a moment just to say, let me regroup. Let me get myself together. Because sometimes I could come off a little bit harsher, or sometimes what I'm about to say may not have been something I thought through fully. It was just based off of my reaction to what this person either just said or what the circumstance just is. And sometimes we don't take enough time to really think and to consider all or most of the consequences of our actions. So I implore you and I encourage you, definitely take a moment to think about those things, and take a moment to consider other people and how they're dealing with what they're dealing with, right? Depression is not just like exclusive to season. Like, let me give you this example too. Depression can happen at any moment in time. It's very possible for any person. And just because you may think that you have never dealt with depression, or you have never seen it yourself or experienced it from anyone else, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I want you to be completely receptive to that, because that is very, very important. It can be a very dangerous thing to assume that things that don't happen to you necessarily, or things that you have not been influenced by, or whatever the case may be, whatever, it's dangerous for you to think that they do not exist or do not happen outside of you, because you then just don't have the opportunity to, or you have not given yourself the avenue to even consider other people, because you completely discounted the fact that there is something else happening, or there's something else that's active that doesn't affect you but affects other people, and you just don't believe that it's true, right? It's like saying, oh, well, racism doesn't exist because I've never felt racist to anyone, or I've never, no one's ever been racist towards me. baby doll, honey, sweet. Racism exists. It's very, very real, and it's very, very true. And that's not what we're talking about in this episode, but it's just the reality of how people say certain things. So just take a moment to consider people, take a moment to consider yourself, and really think during these times, especially as we go into the months where seasonal depression is at its highest, just take a moment to really consider other people and how they may have come across, because some people are going to project. That's just a given fact. So many people do. So many people project their own insecurities, they project their own frustrations, things that they're going through into other people. And sometimes that can also be a side effect or a symptom of depression, where this is something that you're doing very frequently. You're not taking, a chance or a moment to regroup yourself in order to be able to best respond to someone else in a considerate manner. Sometimes your mind is going so quickly, or it's just at such a low capacity that it's not able to do these things that it could be doing in the summertime or the springtime, when it's a lot more brighter and you're able to get outside more and the sun is able to give you some more vitamin D. So I just want us to be more considerate of each other during these times, and I really, really encourage you to definitely be more considerate to yourself as well. So if you'd want to, if you feel led to, share this message with someone else. I know it could definitely help those that listen to it, and I'm really excited to really get into this season. I have so much planned. I was just waiting on my sign to do this. I said at the beginning of this process that I was led by God to really make this this podcast and to do this, and I said I was going to, walk with Him in this. So that's what I'm doing. I'm walking with Him and doing as I see fit. You know what I'm saying? So, or as He sees fit for me to do. So, ultimately, I'm not going to leave you guys with any expectations other than, this season is going to be dope. It's going to be raw. It's going to be real. There are going to be some things that we're going to talk about that have to get, we got to get real, personal, because there's a lot to really discuss. And I don't want you to think every single episode that you're going to listen to this season is just going to be about this overarching topic that's going to give you some insightful thing. Sometimes it might just be something that's comforting. It might just be something that's affirmative, because at this time where you're dealing with seasonal depression, you're not always in the headspace to receive information like this. Sometimes you just gotta, take a moment, take a breath. So I'm definitely, looking forward to being able to, share this season with you all in a new way. So I just realized that some of the video went out, unfortunately. This is going to be it's going to be something that definitely irritates me later in post, but hey, it is something. It is what it is. Life happens. So we're going to get that fixed for sure, because I definitely want to make sure that, everything's properly cut to where it's supposed to be. But yeah, expect some good things this season. Expect some very new things to be on the platform. And I'm really excited to be able to share these things with you also. Like I said, you can follow me and find me on multiple platforms: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Phenix Speaks, Phenix Speaks. Everything should be cohesive now. I changed the Instagram so that it's a lot more easier to, just find it. And then what's the last thing? Oh, just make sure you listen back to older episodes. They're always going to be valuable to you, even when the most unorthodox of topics that you could think of and you just listen to. Sometimes they can speak directly to your situation at the time it's supposed to. So just feel led. When you feel led to listen. And definitely make sure that you share this with a friend, a family member, someone that can really gain some value from just hearing that there's someone out here trying to encourage you. You feel me? So yeah, I definitely am excited to share more with you all soon. I'm just trying not to say too much because there's a lot happening. So I'm gonna leave it to kind of the surprise of what's coming. So yeah, love you guys. I'm definitely looking forward to putting out more episodes and really walking with you all through this journey through these next couple months, because seasonal depression is real, and I want you all to know that you have someone else in your corner rooting you on to get through this stuff and to help you cope with the process, because sometimes it's inevitable to experience some of these things, but it's always good to have somebody there that can help support you through. All right, that's it. That's the episode. Again, like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and definitely follow and find me on the other platforms at Phenix Speaks. And I will see you in the next episode. Peace, love, Phenix.